Adventure Game Geek.
He's solving riddles great and small.
Adventure Game Geek. Adventure games, he loves them all.
Every day is a new quest, exploring north, south, east, and west. Point and click to find the answers that we seek. Adventure Game Geek.
Hello there, fellow adventurers. Today we're taking a look at The Seventh Guest, developed by Trilobyte, which, as you probably know, is named after the fossil of an extinct marine arachnomorph arthropod, just like the one on display here in The Lost Crown. It was released by Virgin Games in 1993, the same year as Myst, and like Myst, it made use of the new CD-ROM format to incorporate live-action video. The introduction is presented to us through this storybook, which looks like one of the linking books from Myst. I wonder if we're going to be walking around finding red and blue pages. The story revolves around Henry Stauf, a bum who's reached an all-time low until he suddenly has a vision of a doll floating in a bubble.
It was a gift.
But a gift from who, I wonder? Stauf starts making these dolls and grows to be a very wealthy toy maker, but by complete coincidence, all the children with dolls fall sick and die. Well, maybe if we visit Stauf's mansion we can find out the mystery of what's really going on. One by one, the guests arrive.
My, isn't this a cheery place?
Wait, did her face just turn into a skull for a moment there? Nah, must be my imagination.
What a dump. I expected more of Mr. Stauf.
So who are these people anyway? Well, the game also comes with a booklet called the Stauf Files, which apart from some newspaper clippings with background on Stauf, also contains short character profiles, though these only give vague glimpses into who they really are. If you really want the full 7 guest experience, I highly recommend getting the strategy guide, a hefty tome that not only has detailed solutions for the puzzles, but also a narrative walkthrough in the original script. The game manual also tells us more about our character. In the world of the 7th guest, consider yourself an active and mysterious entity known only as Ego. Your role, identity, and purpose is not shown or explained, but is rather experienced as a seamlessly integral part of the total environment that is the Stauf Mansion. Okay, so now that we know all that, we're finally ready to play the game. Gameplay consists of exploring the mansion and solving a puzzle in each room, which then opens other rooms where we have to solve more puzzles, that in turn opens more rooms and more puzzles. Well, you get the idea. One of the first puzzles you have to solve is this cake in the dining room, which I always thought looked good enough to eat despite all the skulls and gravestones. After completing a puzzle, we get to watch another cutscene of the guests.
Come and talk in my bedroom upstairs, where it's nice and private.
Let's follow them upstairs and see what they get up to, shall we? Okay, this is getting really freaky, like that scene with the goat demon in the church. Let's leave them to it and go back downstairs to the kitchen. Here I was going to make a comment about how this phone looks like a strange little creature, but Pushing Up Roses already mentioned that in her review. The puzzle here involves rearranging these cans to make words, the tricky thing being that there are no vowels. Would you be quiet up there? I'm trying to solve this can puzzle. Stauf doesn't leave you in peace either, as his voice constantly taunts you with his corny sense of humor.
Finding things a little cryptic.
Overall, the puzzles are a mixed bag, ranging from relatively straightforward and logical,
Yes.
to bloody tedious and annoying. My least favorite are all the chess puzzles, especially since they take so many moves to complete.
Black is white, and white is black.
There's one puzzle though that even the strategy guide can't help you with. Here you play against Stauf himself, and the objective is to end up with more blue blobs than green blobs, but the AI is set so high it feels like it was created by Cyberdyne Systems. After playing this for a while I got really grossed out by the disgusting slurping sounds and decided to admit defeat. If you read this book in the library, it will give you clues to solving the puzzle, and after 3 times it will solve it for you. The manual states there is a price to pay for this, but whatever the price, it's worth it so I don't totally lose my mind. One thing I really enjoyed is finding all the secret passages that take you to other parts of the house, such as going through the fireplace or climbing a magical plant like in Jack and the Beanstalk. My favorite is going down the drain in the sink past all these Black Widow spiders, which would obviously be impossible for any normal human being, but because we are the disembodied ego, we can boldly go where no guest has gone before. At one point, I got totally stumped where to go next, before finally realizing that you can look down at the floor at the foot of the stairs, which takes you to the art gallery.
Strange paintings. Sick.
They don't look that strange to me.
If you think my eyes are big, you should see my teeth.
I also really like the different cursor icons. Apart from the normal skeleton hand, there's also a pulsating brain for the puzzles, chattering teeth for an interactive object, and a theatrical mask for the cutscenes.
Pretty balloon, Sonny. Here's a nice one. Pretty balloon.
Okay, so some things you can click on are quite disturbing and the stuff of nightmares, but it all contributes to bringing the house to life. There's so much more in the script than in the game, like a scene with ghouls in the dining room and matches dancing in the kitchen, and it's a shame that this didn't all make it to the screen. One of the final puzzles before you reach the last room at the top of the house is this pentagram, which I was able to solve quite easily with all my experience playing that game with the pegs at Cracker Barrel. In the end, you finally confront Stauf himself, who's obviously eaten too much of that green cake in the dining room. I feel the same way about 7th Guest as I do about Myst. It was groundbreaking at the time, but playing it now wasn't quite the same experience. I feel like there's too many frustrating puzzles that disrupt the story, and not enough in-game explanation to piece it all together. So that's all I have to say about the 7th Guest, but 2 years later a sequel called The 11th Hour was released, so I'm going to take this opportunity to say a few things about that.
Back for more?
Instead of the live actors being ghosts like in the original, this time they're very much alive, although it's kinda hard to tell from their wooden acting.
I have to get out of here. I'm scared.
Wait.
We play as reporter Carl Denning, who we get to see riding his motorbike from every angle, which I guess is supposed to make him look cool, but he's really just a knob. He arrives at the old Stauf mansion, which has fallen into disrepair, and goes inside in search of the woman he slept with who's gone missing. That's about as much of the plot as I feel like going into, because it's mostly a load of old bollocks. Many of the puzzles here are either similar to the ones from the first game, or take a ridiculous amount of time to solve. The microscope puzzle rears its ugly head once again in the form of this beehive, which you can skip, but you need to consult the hints for every single move.
Do you want me to make the next move?
Apart from the puzzles, there's the added novelty of a treasure hunt, with riddles that point you towards a specific item you have to find.
Rolling rock, bottle cap.
So now we're looking for the angry video game nerd? The correct answer is the cork in this champagne bottle.
Are you coming, Carl? Or are you just breathing hard?
Wait, was that a sexual innuendo? Yeah, that's right. Every time you click on an object that's not the answer to the riddle, you get to hear Stauf's voice taunting you.
Are you trying to think? Or have a movement?
This gets annoying very quickly, even when Stauf tries to be funny by throwing in some movie references.
Frankly, Carl, I don't give a damn.
Sometimes you can't even hear what he's saying as the music's too loud.
Am I being...
Apparently you can adjust the volume with the arrow keys, but that didn't work for me. Playing this game makes me feel like I'm constantly being abused by a creepy old man. Many of the riddles are anagrams, so I suggest using an anagram solver if you can be asked to solve them, otherwise you can just use the in-game hints to tell you the answer. Every time you solve a riddle, you're shown a short clip, and when you reach a certain point, you get to watch them all again as part of a longer movie. I found these scenes pretty dull and unengaging, and I really didn't care for any of the characters, but here's a quick highlight reel. Experience the horror of the 11th hour with people walking in slow motion. Running in slow motion. Typing really fast. And staring at each other like in a spaghetti western. The The final puzzle is unskippable and is a game called Pent against Stauf, the object being to get 5 beans in a row.
You got lucky that time!
Then finally Stauf himself appears in a parody of a game show where you have to pick one of 3 doors. The middle door is obviously the correct choice, but if you want to see the others, you need to play the bean game again.
You made the right choice.
It wasn't easy.
Yeah, no shit it wasn't easy, I had to play with bloody beans for ages. Now we get to sit back and watch Stauf's mansion go up in flames. Well, that's it for the 7th guest in the 11th hour, folks. Join me next time when I talk about a game from one of my favorite adventure game series of all time. Can you guess what it is? Well, I'll give you a hint. Okay, it's King's Quest.
That's all, Carl.